I think our team's been playing for probably the longest time out of anyone. It's pretty much just destiny that we make it.
I'm the only hunter in the game, and I'm the best hunter in the game. That's why I'm the only one that made it to regionals this year.
I think the state of our team's pretty good right now. We pretty much steamrolled every team anyway, so not like it matters now.
And we're the best. Look at us.
Yeah, we're the best.
The best.
So I think we probably had the hardest trip to qualify. The second cup I played in, we had difficulties, and we still managed to pull through.
And we probably just win every game, flawlessly, in the opener. In the very beginning, right when the gates open, we're just gonna win.
They can play whatever they want, not like it will matter though.
I honestly don't think it matters what type of certain plays. They're gonna lose, and that's all there is to it.
I wouldn't say that we want it more, because I think everyone wants more. I just think we deserve it more.
All right. I feel like a raisin in the sun.
Great.
That's all I have to say. I just really wanted to say that.
That's great.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to here at the caster stage. Once again, I am Josh Allen, a.k.a. Lore, joined by Elliot Venksel, a.k.a. Venruki. That was a quick series. That was over pretty quick.
Yeah, these last two series have been very quick, just 2 quick games, and it's over. So we'll be moving on to our next game, which is going to be Santos Dexterity against Luminosity, and we're going to see a turbo cleave mirror.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting when you see these mirror matches like this, because it becomes less and less and less about, well, obviously not at all about how do the individual comps match up against each other, because it's the same comp. It becomes how well is one of them able to play against the other one, and what actually gets you the win in a mirror match. Is it whereas you might compare like a turbo cleave to an RMD, it's like, okay, are you able to deal with the CC chain from the RMD? Are you able to do this, and so on? It's more of just like what actually makes that difference? What actually makes one turbo cleave better than the other turbo cleave?
Sometimes it can be the littlest things, like who does damage rotation better. A lot of the time it's who overlaps their defensive cooldowns and who doesn't. Little things like, I was talking to Super Tease, and he said a big part of a turbo cleave mirror is actually making sure that your druid gets out a lot of cyclones out of the shockwaves, stuff like that. Just making sure that you're constantly getting the CC out, doing the proper swaps, and just not overlapping.
Yeah, and it is interesting, actually, even looking at the compositions as both of these teams have declared them at this point. We actually have both teams, like we said, playing Turbo Cleave, but Smexton's actually playing ARMS as well. He was playing Fury, I believe, in the match that he played earlier today, but he's actually swapped over to ARMS, so it's a 100% mirror, same warrior specs even. But we do actually have some brackets to take a look at, so we can look and see how everyone has been faring so far today. Looking at Group A, we just watched FollowEsports.com taking out Hype 2-0 very convincingly, I'd have to say. Those were very, very quick matches and just extremely well played from Follow Esports. That puts Hype, unfortunately, they've been eliminated from the tournament at this point, so condolences to them. They are going to walk away with that $2,000 prize, but they are no longer able to compete. But Follow Esports has now moved on to the Group A second semifinals, where they will have an opportunity to move on to be one of the 4 teams that competes tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Yeah, and looking at Group B, first match we had of the day was Luminosity against Juveniles. Juveniles cleaned them up 2-0 quickly. And then we had Dream Deferred against Santos, and that was also a 2-0 sweep. So in the winter semifinals, we have Juvenile and Dream Deferred waiting to play their games. And this next up-and-coming game, obviously, is Luminosity against Santos Dexterity. One of these teams is going to be completely eliminated from the tournament. Their dreams of BlizzCon are over. So there's a lot on the line.
Yeah, and I'm expecting this to be a pretty close series as well. I know that both of these teams, again, part of them playing a mirror match means it's going to be kind of close no matter what, but both of these teams are so well prepared for this in this tournament environment. I'm really excited to see this match. However, let's go ahead and take a real quick run through of the rules once again. If you've been watching all day, you've probably heard these a few times at this point, but just to make sure, let's go ahead and run through them again. There is a 4-player roster available to teams this year. That's one change that we've made in the Road to BlizzCon tournament this year. Allows a little bit more in the way of comp diversity, so that if you really want to bring in like an ARMS warrior so that you can play Turbo Cleave in situations where it's beneficial to you, you're able to do that. The first map of every series will be Nagrand Arena. They'll always start off on Nagrand Arena. Just a very well-balanced map. Works very well. Then in the second series, the loser will pick the map. The winner will then declare which composition they'd like to play, and then the losing team will declare what composition. Now that they know what the winning team is going to play, they can choose their own composition and sort of get the opportunity to counterpick a little bit, which adds a lot more of the mind game into how this actually works out, because you think to yourself, well, we're going to pick this map, and then they're going to pick a composition based on that map. And we know we've got a really good composition in our back pocket that we'll be able to switch to. So you can kind of set yourself up for a really good position if you do happen to lose that first map.
Yeah, some of the times there's a lot of mind games that come into these matches. We're actually going to go ahead and take a look at the prize pool now. The first place, obviously, a huge prize pool of $50,000. Not bad if we're coming out for a weekend of video games. Second place, we've got $20,000. Third, $10,000, and obviously down from there. In addition to that, the top 3 teams from this event will be moving forward to BlizzCon to compete for that BlizzCon championship, as well as even more money.
Yeah, so there is a lot on the line here, and each of these teams, like I was saying earlier, are actually going to walk away with that $2,000 at the very least. So even if they do lose, they do get to walk away with something. But let's go ahead and take a look at our social media for just a second, because we do have lots of ways for you guys to stay in the loop on what's going on. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook at Warcraft, Twitter at Warcraft as well, and then to keep up with all of our video content. If you missed a match, it'll show up later on YouTube as well. You can go back and watch that on youtube.com/Warcraft, and of course, right here on Twitch TV at twitch.tv/Warcraft as well. And if you are using Twitter, you can go ahead and use that hashtag WowEsports to join in the conversation and make sure that your tweets are being seen. We've actually been displaying several tweets up here on the screen as well. So there's lots of ways for you to actually keep up with that.
And also, if you guys want to take advantage of the 10% off Blizzard gear, use the promo code WowRTB15 at the website gear.blizzard.com. You can get discounts on all your favorite Blizzard gear.
Yeah. So we will be getting into this match here very shortly. I believe both of the teams are ready. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Santos Dexterity as they are just raring to go. Ready, you can see he's like, I just want to get into this match. Of course, this team is from Brazil. They're composed of Rind, a very well-known Resto Druid, Shapus on the Warlock, Merkmines playing the Priest, and we will be seeing Zads on the Warrior. And then if we're going to take a look at our other team, Luminosity, there are some very well-known faces on Luminosity as well. We can see Vanguard's right there in the middle, just chatting up with his team, ready to go. Of course, on the close end, that would be Smexin. And down at the end, that will, of course, be Danny Carey, who's going to be playing the Resto Druid in this Turbo Cleave Mirror.
And it looks like we are into the game. The first map, of course, going to be Nagrand Arena, like it always is, considered the most fair and balanced map. But in this mirror matchup, there's going to be no map that particularly favors either team. It's going to be completely balanced on either sides. And basically what's going to happen is the team that plays better, there's going to be no little weird advantages. Just whoever plays better is going to win.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really love about mirror matches. Like, they tend to... I feel like they kind of tend to get a bad rap. People are like, oh, we're just seeing the same 3 classes on either side going off against each other. We want to see more diversity. And while seeing a diverse match is totally awesome, that's great. At the same time, I really like watching these mirror matches and knowing which is the better Turbo Cleave between these two teams. It's not a question of, oh, this class does better against that class, or this comp does better against that comp. It's these players did better against those players, which is why these mirror matches can be so cool to watch when they happen. So the gates are just about to open. We're going to be watching as Luminosity is just running out of the gates here, heading straight all the way in here immediately. Vanguards and Smexin are just out for blood, trying to put as much pressure as they can in this opening of this match. Yeah,
both teams just immediately getting into it. Like you said, the shockwave coming out from Smexin onto Mercs and Zads. Rind actually caught into that full fear right now. It's going to get tremored a little bit late. Recklessness already coming out from Zads as well as Smexin. Vanguard's getting dangerously low, though, as well as Danny Carey, who has to use that Iron Bark onto himself just in that bear form, trying to get away the best he can. Right away, Santos Dexterity coming out of the gates very strong.
Yeah, Mercs now may be in a little bit of trouble, though. They're trying to turn it back around onto them, and they could be able to make something happen. Merc actually spamming purges, just trying to keep those hots from being active as much as possible. He does, however, get that Iron Bark from Rind, and that's going to be the first actual real cooldown that Rind has to use. And that puts Santos, I think, a little bit up in terms of the cooldown usage so far in this match. However, Merc's just still chasing after Danny Carey over here, trying to keep that pressure going as much as he possibly can. And they're actually doing a great job of dropping CC onto the DPS from Luminosity. They want to limit that pressure as much as possible and make sure that they're able to stay on top in terms of overall damage.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the Warriors, like we talked about, throwing out those double shockwaves onto the opposing Warrior and Shaman, so their Druid can get out those clones and they can get a little bit more damage and prevent some of that damage that way. So that's going to be a key part of this matchup. Smexon getting a little bit low as well as Vanguards. A double shockwave coming out once again from Zads onto them. Vanguards is the target of choice. Colossal Smash is up onto him. Nature's Vigil has been popped by Danny Carey. He's trying to get out some additional healing, throwing out those Cyclones when he can onto Merc Mines, casting out a few regrowths as well. Santos Dexterity just seems like they have a commanding lead of this game. They have all the pressure and momentum on their side. Vanguard's actually getting that Ironbark from Danny Carey's, and Smexon caught in a root right now. Once again, Santos Dexterity looking very safe.
Yeah, they're doing amazingly well so far in this match, and I would definitely say that it is currently their game to lose. I do expect this game to go fairly long, but with Danny Carey stuck into that fear, into the Hex as well, unfortunately that's going to get broken off of him right away, and he's going to be able to get back out and start tossing some heals onto Vanguards, but Vanguards does have to pop the Shamanistic Rage in order to be able to stay alive through this ridiculous pressure just constantly coming out from Santos Dexterity. Of course, Merc has had to use his Shamanistic Rage as well, so it's a very, very back and forth trades happening at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of mirrored cooldowns, but one thing I noticed is Rind actually is at 90% mana. Danny Carey's down to 50, so I don't know if he got a drink off or he's just being more efficient with his heals or what the deal is, but looking forward, going later on into this game, he has a huge advantage with that. And if we look at the offensive cooldowns of both of these guys, they're pretty much mirrored. Smexon throwing out that Recklessness right now, as well as the Bladestorm, trying to get out some pressure, but he's also having to play defensive. The Shockwave going out onto Danny Carey. They are swapping over onto him. He's getting pressured quite heavily. The Ironbark going out onto him, down to 50% HP. He needs to get away. Rind at the same time taking a lot of damage, down to 15% HP. This Turbo Miro is insane. Both of these guys just hitting each other so hard.
Yeah, Danny Carey now just finally able to get over here, get a Cyclone out onto Zads and slow down that pressure a little bit, which is going to allow him to jump over here, just drop the Treants as well, which will let him heal back up. And he should be able to stabilize. Rind just hiding over here behind this pillar the whole time, just making sure he can get heals out because Mercs is just caught out in the open and taking so much damage from so many different directions. However, it's Vanguards that actually has to pop his Shamanistic Rage yet again. He's just constantly being put under pressure and having to use that defensive cooldown. And as this keeps up and as the game continues, eventually he won't have that available when that damage comes.
Yeah, Rind actually having to use his Trinket as well as Barkskin and his Heart of the Wild there, so he has no more defensive cooldowns. That was the Ascendance from Vanguard, so a decent trade, but Rind also very vulnerable on the next swap for him. Merc Mines and Zad's getting shockwaved up by Smex, and both of them are getting a little bit low right now. Ironbark coming out from Rind. He's going to be able to stabilize his team with that. Vanguard's getting really low, but once again, mana might be the name of the game. Zad's down to 30% HP though, pops the die by the sword to prevent that incoming damage. He's not going to be able to get meleeed. Rind getting put into that full bash. He has no trinket available for this. They're swapping over onto him, and this could be the swap they need. Down to 30% HP. Still has Heart of the Wild up for a little bit. It fades in that execute range. The rallying cry comes out from Zads on Rind. He's going to be able to survive for now. If he's able to top off his team going further on this game, he's going to be good.
Yeah. It's definitely looking very scary. Wow, another stun onto Rind. He has to pop that Barkskin, but now Smexon is spinning on top of him, and that's going to be it. Rind is going to go down, and that's going to be our first game for Team Luminosity as they are able to turn back from... They actually looked like they were in a lot of trouble earlier on, and they were able to turn it around and take themselves the win.
Yeah, remarkably, if we look at the damage breakdown for this game, Smexon did 5,500,000, Zads did 5,500,000. Identically mirrored. Vanguard's 4,800,000, Merc's 4,800,000.
Wow.
So both teams basically doing the exact same amount of pressure.
All right, so we do have Bajira over at the analyst station to give his breakdown. Take it away, Bajira.
Wow, so when you think of a turbo cleave mirror, the excitement factor doesn't always pop into your head first. However, those guys played, once again, I talk about tournament quality gameplay. These guys, they matched each other perfectly for damage. However, the slight changes in strategy are what netted Luminosity the win here. So we're going to see a ferocious swap over to Rind, which is going to force a lot of cooldowns out of him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot left. Right as he barely escapes, he is able to use that Barkskin. But Smexon in the heads-up play that he is able to easily catch back up with him with Heroic Leap. He blinks away, catches him in a charge stun. The Barkskin comes out. Smexon is going to Bladestorm, cancel Aura, Bladestorm, execute just as Rind was about to get around the corner. So we know Smexon is known for his slam dunk executes, and he certainly got one right there. We'll see if he can continue that trend. Back to the casters.
Thank you so much, Bajira. Expert analysis once again coming from the Muscle Beak men's physique champion over there. By the way, side note, congratulations for that. But we are going to be getting into this next match here very, very shortly. The queue is already up. These teams are not waiting around for anything. They just want to get into this yet again.
Yeah, it looks like it will be a mirror once again. We are going to get Tiger's Peak. Santos Dexterity decided to select that as the map they want to play on. And like we said, this isn't going to offer a particular advantage to either team. I'm sure both teams are very familiar with this map and what they need to do in a mirror. Remarkable, though, Santos Dexterity, although I thought they wouldn't really have much of a chance in this mirror, they did very, very well. I mean, despite losing throughout the entire game, they had a lot of pressure.
Yeah, they did. So we will be getting into this match here very, very shortly. So apologies, I had to deal with a UI issue there very briefly. But it has been sorted out, and we will be getting into this match here as these gates are just about to open. We're going to be following Smexon out of the gates and see if he wants to just go hard right away or if they want to stay back a little bit. Looks like the answer is going hard right away, just moving in over here. Going to meet Zads out in the open. Mercs and Vanguard's trading a little bit as well. It's a mirror match in a mirror match at the moment. Mercs now taking actually quite a bit of damage, caught into a double shockwave there. Zads is now popped his recklessness. He's looking to do as much damage as possible. Vanguards might be in a little bit of trouble as a part of this. Has not yet used his Shamanistic Rage. He's just chasing Rind like crazy. Going to jump back over here, pop a couple of heals on himself, and now it's Mercs that might be in trouble. Shamanistic Rage comes out. The Ironbark came out onto him as well. Now he's having to maybe play a little bit defensive. He does have his Wolves out at the moment, which is going to help him out a little bit. And they're just keeping up constant pressure. This match is very, very offensive. Both teams are just going crazy.
Yeah, Zad's actually used his recklessness there. Smexon still has it available. There it is. He's going to pop it. The recklessness Bladestorm coming out onto Mercs as well as the double shockwave. Down to 20% HP. If he gets a little bit lower, he's going to be in that execute range. Colossus Smash comes out. Rin doing everything he can. Pops that Heart of the Wild to empower his healing. The Rallying Cry comes out as well. Mercs is going to survive, but at what cost?
Yeah, and there was actually a really great knockback from Danny Carey there for a second. Mercs just trying to get over here out of line of sight. Danny Carey actually knocked him away, trying to get his team an opportunity to get back onto him. However, it looks like Mercs is going to be left alone for the moment as they're now turning it around onto Vanguards out here in the open, trying to do as much damage as possible to him. Vanguards is going to have to go back over here out of line of sight for a second. He's going to hang out with Rind, actually. Toss a quick heal on himself. Rind's going to piece out of there. He doesn't want anything to do with that. And Vanguards is just chasing after him this whole time. He says, you know what? No, get over here. Get over here. I want to punch you. Get over here.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing the double shockwave coming out from Smexon onto Zads and Mercs, and Danny Carey able to follow up that clone onto Mercs. Rin taking a lot of pressure. Both Smexon and Vanguard's able to connect to him. Beautiful shockwave coming out from Zads to peel that a little bit. Rin getting away, only having to use his Ironbark. Barkstein coming up for him in around 5 seconds. Still has Shrink available. Has that NS. Able to get that off. Top himself off for now. And his team is kind of stabilized, but both teams still under a lot of pressure. Danny Carey getting bashed the full fear onto Vanguards at the same time. He's not going to be able to tremor himself out of that. So I like that fear coming out from Zads. Mercs down to 40% HP. Getting some hot skill. The Colossus Smash comes in as well as the double execute. Shaman Rage coming in a little bit late. Rin has to trinket there as well. Dangerously low in execute range. This could be the game. The full clone coming out from Danny Carey, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, and that is why Luminosity has been so feared for their Turbo Cleave. They just play it so flawlessly. They are so excited right now. You can see them on your screen just sort of rejoicing in that victory, and well-earned as well. They have every right to be happy with how that went down. Let's go over to Bajira at the analyst station and hear his takedown on how that went.
All right, Luminosity, arguably the best Turbo Cleave in this tournament. Definitely asserted their Turbo Cleave dominance on that enemy Turbo Cleave right there. So in a mirror, actually that's one of the questions I want to ask here pretty soon, but in a mirror, one of the things to look out for, and one of the things that Luminosity was doing perfectly, was whenever you land a double shockwave, make sure to Cyclone the Warrior, and we're actually going to see that right here. So the Warrior is not able to provide any sort of extra damage, and they certainly aren't able to use that Rallying Cry ability that keeps the Shaman out of execute range. Look at that clone on Zadiza, and while Rin gets bashed, just interrupting the healing just a little bit into a charge stun, into swapping the clone over to Rind. So that was some excellent play. And in these Turbo Cleave mirrors, those small things, those small strategies actually can end up being what sends you to BlizzCon or out of the tournament. So we're going to send it back to the casters for a brief moment and get set up for the next interview, and we'll see you very soon.
All right, guys, welcome back. And that does mean that Luminosity will be moving on in this tournament, and Santos Dexterity, unfortunately, this is the end of their tournament road. However, they will be walking away with that $2,000, so they at least get something for their trouble.
Yeah, they came all the way from Latin America. They did an excellent job in this tournament, but unfortunately in the Turbo Mirror, they just fell a little bit short despite putting forth quite an effort, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in that first game, it really looked like they may have had Luminosity's number a little bit, but Luminosity was able to turn it around. They took the win in the first game. They took a very convincing win in the second game. And actually, let's hear it directly from Luminosity themselves. We have Vajira over, ready for an interview with Vanguards from Team Luminosity.
All right, as you just heard, I am being joined by Luminosity Captain Vanguards himself, fresh off of that victory. And I was talking about this just briefly before we started, about in terms of a mirror match, there are slight plays that can end up making a difference. And I think we saw some of them from you guys. But in your opinion, I don't know if you knew this, but in that first game, your damage was exactly the same as the enemy Enhancement Shaman, and the two warriors' damage was exactly the same as well. So you guys were matching each other toe-to-toe, but strategical differences are what ended up securing the win for you. So what, in a Turbo Cleave mirror, do you bring to the table that allows you to win that mirror match?
I think in the first game, we were actually really severely behind because what happened was they got a full drink off because we were like a little too much on the warrior. We didn't get on the Druid enough. But I think the biggest thing about Turbo Mirrors is just like consistency because, there's not really much of a CC comp, obviously. And, just being able to output your maximum damage. And a strategy is, of course, getting triple Shockwave is a big deal because, it lowers the cooldown by half. And that is our CC, basically, for this comp. And Shockwaves equals clones. And that was pretty much it, landing the CC and being consistent.
Awesome. So I'm really glad that you mentioned consistency because if you guys didn't know about Luminosity's road to here, they actually, you've been playing with the exact same players for all the qualifier cups, and you're unsuccessful qualifying for the first two. But unlike a lot of teams, you didn't change your roster at all. You stuck with the teammates that you have been playing with, and I think that's a big deal. Is there some reason why you stuck with those guys? Instead of changing things up, you really believed in them, you really liked them as people. Like what was the decision to stick with the team and instead of switching things up?
Oh yeah, so we actually, basically after our first cup, we basically, this first cup, only one team qualified, tough luck, we'll make it a second one. The second one, we actually did have some possibilities in changing our teams, but we stuck it through in the end. Me and Danny was basically together. We'd convince the other, our other teammates, Smexon, for example, to stay with us. And in the end, I think we're all happy with our choices, and I'm glad I'm playing with this team.
Yeah, well, you guys definitely deserve to be happy because you are once again, moving on forward in the tournament. You guys have played an excellent set of matches, even though the first match was a pretty rough one against that RMD comp. But you guys are rolling, and we are rolling too, but we're going to roll right into a break first. Thank you, Vanguards, for joining us, and congratulations on moving on, and best of luck the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
I'm Danny Carey. I play Resto Druid. I'm Smexon. I play Arms Warrior.
I'm Vanguards, and I play Rep Paladin and Hand Shaman.
I'm Maldiva. I play Affliction Warlock and Demonology.
I think we've done very well together. This team basically started off with us three, and then we really wanted a fourth, and then Maldiva was a great Warlock, so he was a good addition. He pulled for us in the qualifiers. I think we feel pretty confident that we can qualify. We're probably the most prepared team. I think we played the most in this past few weeks. Our first qualifier, we were literally one spot short. We were second place. For that tournament, only first place qualified. And then for the second tournament, 2 spots qualified, and we got basically 3rd/4th. So we were 1 spot short for 2 rounds, and we went through some tough times after that. The second round especially was a devastating one because we were so close. There was a lot of possible team hopping at that time, and I think we're all happy that we stayed together in the end and got through that. If we make it to BlizzCon, for us, it's going to be a big deal for all of us because all of us put so much hours into the game, so much time. If you play from vanilla, you literally played a decade. The money obviously is awesome, but it's almost like a mark that all that time was worth something. Playing a video game, it's fun, but it's nice to make something out of it.